I would like to call to order again the council meeting of September 30th, 2019. Yay, have we been adequately noticed?
Yes, we were adequately noticed for the business session on January 11th, 2019, and for the closed session that we just left on September 24th, 2019, to the Princeton Packet and the Times.
Thank you. Please join us in the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call?
Jeevers. Here. Hamilton.
Yes.
Manzara.
Here.
Miller.
Yep.
Zhang.
Yep.
Okay. Public comment.
Mr. Hinsdale?
Hi, John Hinsdale, 38 Quaker Road. Madam President, members of council, Mr. Mayor, everyone else in the room. At the conclusion of my comments, I'll be leaving 6 copies, one for each member of council and one for the mayor, so that there need be no confusion at this or any future meeting as to what my comments were. Citizens of West Windsor are entitled to know whether current and prospective elected officials benefited personally last April from a charitable deduction of donations to the 2018 Mayor's Ball on their 2018 state or federal tax returns. We are entitled to know because we taxpayers have been stuck with the bill for maintenance, upkeep, insurance, and training for the township equipment purchased through that fundraising effort. I applaud those current and prospective officials who have already given a straight one-word answer to this simple question. Those current and prospective officials who still have not disclosed are Mayor Hema Marate, council members Virginia Manzara and Linda Jeevers, and prospective council members Andrea Sue Mandel, Michael Stevens, and Sonia Gawas. There is no possible legitimate reason not to disclose this information, and it should be disclosed if only to dispel the notion that these current and prospective officials are hiding something. To not have to ask Hema Marate what he is hiding. To ask Virginia Manzari what she is hiding. To ask Linda Jeevers, of all people, what she is hiding.
I think that was a comment.
West Windsor Township already has all the public information surrounding the 2018 Mayor's Ball fundraising that was submitted to the New Jersey Department of Consumer Affairs, to the Internal Revenue Service, and to our 3 members of Congress. For convenience, a copy of all that public information can be viewed online by visiting www.fraud.com. That's www.fraud.com. I look forward to the day when our township operations and the procurement of the money to fund them is fully transparent. I'd like to leave these for council.
Yep.
To get them as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam President, I usually don't answer, but every time he says, I'm going to now put on record, Mr. Hinsdale has filed a complaint with the State Attorney General, who is a Democrat, who is no friend of mine. State Attorney General, who has looked at his case, investigated case, and threw it in the dustbin. That's for record. He has now filed with the IRS. For 1 year, I spent my own time, my own money, my own effort doing this. Now I'm going to start using taxpayer money and ask Mr. Herbert to investigate anytime Mr. Hinsdale files these false claims. And if Mr. Hinsdale, rather than posting it on some fake news website, if you have, you can post it on Peeps. I'll answer you. Let people see what kind of nonsense is going on. Thank you.
I would also like to add for the record that, the people who volunteer for West Windsor Gives Back are tired of having Mr. Hinsdale disparage them. The money that was raised last year went directly to the PBA. The money that is being raised this year is going directly to the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company. To have him create a website called West Windsor Fraud about that is absolutely ridiculous, and it's insulting. And you're not hurting me. You're hurting the people who are volunteering for this organization, and you're hurting these organizations organizations. The volunteer fire company, yes, they get some money from the township to buy large equipment like fire trucks, but aside from that, they raise their own funds and they are a volunteer organization. And I resent the fact that every council meeting you come back here and you make up lies and you spread lies, because that's what they are, about us helping that organization to raise funds to buy emergency safety equipment. This is the money that they're raising this year, that West Windsor Gives Back is helping them raise money for, is to buy a vehicle stabilization kit, which will basically stabilize vehicles after they've been in a crash, and it will keep our first responders safe while they're trying to take victims out of the cars, and it increases the chances of survival for the victims in the cars. There's nothing nefarious going on here. All the money, all the checks get written out to the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company. If anybody wanted to steal it, they couldn't. It goes directly to them and right into their bank account. If there are any expenses that are incurred, they pay the expenses. It's their deal. They're a 501c3. There's nothing nefarious going on here, and I really, really resent the fact that this person continues to disparage these residents. And let me tell you, the people who have been volunteering for West Windsor Gives Back, they see this, and they will come in here and say something about it, but they don't want him to start attacking them, because he creates websites making up lies about people. He created a website about me called West Windsor Scumbags. Okay? Nice, classy. Why? Because I am helping to raise money for a volunteer fire organization. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on to the next person who volunteered to make a public comment.
Ms. Lynn? Okay.
Hi, good evening. Shinyi Lin, 8 Harrison Lane. I'm here making a public comment on behalf of the Chades, who wanted to comment on last meeting's discussion of the plastic bag ordinance, but couldn't because of the Jewish New Year holiday that they're celebrating tonight. So before I read their comment, I'd like to just add 2 of my own. Number 1, I hope that in the future, Town Council could try to be more mindful in the future about scheduling meetings on major holidays that affect or that are important for ethnic and religious communities in our town. I understand that business has to get done, but it should also be balanced with ensuring that we are inclusive of all of our residents and their opportunity to participate in the dialogue. Number 2, as a resident, I've heard all too often elected officials saying some version of this issue is out of the purview of local government. And I'd like to just say that, in my opinion, I don't think that this abrogation of responsibility would fly for elected officials at other levels of government. And that's because I believe as elected officials, the responsibility is to be the problem solver and to do the research required to provide some kind of answer for residents. And I know that our modern life will continue to present us with complex problems that require cooperation, creativity, and working harder than we have ever had to before to come up with those answers. And I can't help but think a little bit like a parent here, that there are times when my child will say, well, I don't want to take care of this because I know my parent will. And I have to tell them, no, this is part of your responsibility, and you can still have a role to play in a complex problem. So I really hope that our municipal government can continue to evolve and grow and begin to keep pace with what the residents are asking of it. So here's a statement from the Chades. So David and Amanda Chade, they live at 21 Sherbrooke Drive. In today's political climate and global economy, it is very easy to feel like nothing you do matters and no change you will make a difference. But that is absolutely not the case, and certainly not the lesson we should be teaching our children. West Windsor is currently faced with an opportunity to pass an ordinance that would reduce the use of single-use plastic bags at food service and retail locations, as recommended by our nonpartisan Environmental Commission, which has been appointed by the mayor. Not only is passing this ordinance the right thing to do, what kind of world would we be leaving our children with if we don't take even small steps now to help the environment? but it would also put West Windsor at the forefront of passing this kind of ordinance in the state of New Jersey. Already, our environmental commission members have received messages from Princeton residents looking for next steps as to how they can enact similar policies in their town. Further, it is believed that more townships that adopt these regulations will encourage our state legislators to do the same on the state level, a true trickle-up prospect. We commend Environmental Commission and Council members Zhang, Miller, and Hamilton for supporting this effort and encourage the mayor and other council members to think about this message we send to our children if we continue to look at environmental policy as someone else's problem or responsibility. I'm sorry for going a little over speaking there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who is next?
That's all I have, Simon.
Okay. Well,
Yan Wang, 41 Montgomery Street. So, as a member of the West Windsor Friends of West Windsor Open Space, we did 2 cleanups this spring along Clarksville Road, and we covered about half of Clarksville Road. And in those 2 days, we picked up 400 pounds of trash. And a lot of them are plastic bags, not in terms of weight, but definitely in terms of frequency of reaching out for them, bend and pick up and all that. So, okay, so that was that. And this past summer, I was visiting California, visiting my family. I went to school in California for 10 years before, and plastic bags everywhere was just a part of life. So I knew that we have a ban, California had a ban of plastic bags. So I was paying close attention during my trip to California to see, is there an improvement in the plastic bag littering situation? I do not see them on the beach. I do not see them in several parks, even for the July 4th holiday during that time. And I do not see them around schoolyards, along sidewalks. I really do not see them in California. So I'm thinking that if we have similar laws of reducing our plastic bag use, like such as banning them, probably next year when we do the spring cleanup again along our major streets, I expect probably we will have much less waste to collect, and our streets should look much better. And also, I support stronger, tougher gun laws. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else want to make a comment?
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Senator Buck. Okay. Paul Pitlock, 69 Rainflower Lane. First of all, I'd like to comment about last year's resolution that we had on the cyclical runaways, which was quite contested here, and one of the reasons why the opposition was that it was not the purview of the council to deal with this issue. Now, I contend that is absolutely the purview of the council to deal with this issue. First of all, I'd like you to go back in history to some of the brutal attacks on schools, whether it would be Columbine, or Sandy Hook, or Parkland, and so many others, where children were mowed down with assault weapons. Mothers in this town should say it is pertinent here to talk about this issue. It's very important. In fact, we mothers and fathers are concerned about someone entering our schools with an assault military-style weapon and mowing children down. Well, it's not only schools that are in danger. Some of our religious examples. For example, black churches in the South experience the same condition. How about Jewish temples, whether it's in Pittsburgh or in Los Angeles, suffering from the same thing? It behooves you as council people to deal with this issue Now you say, well, what can we do about it here in West Windsor? Well, certainly we have laws already on the books dealing with this, but if every council in America came up with a statement about assault weapons, banning assault weapons, countries have done it already, that might have an effect. So how in the world could you honestly say it's not within the purview of this council to deal with this issue? Now, finally, I'd like to say, don't let the NRA or some political agenda dictate your decision on approval of this resolution. Please, in your heart, think about, do you want assault weapons all over this country? Do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to make a statement? Please.
Hi, my name is Raylan McCune at 247 North Coast Road. And to go along with the New York Public Concern, I'm here as a volunteer with Mercer County Moms in Action, along with other volunteers with me in our iconic red shirts. And I just want to be brief, as I didn't prepare any statement, but I do want to say that I think it's important and it makes a difference that for all of us in our community to work together and use our collective voice to make a strong statement so that those in legislative power can listen and will listen and work together to actually pass some laws. Stop with the thoughts and prayers and take some action. So I do appreciate your consideration to pass any resolution to show support for this very important issue that's affecting more and more people, as we have on average 100 lives lost due to gun violence. And that's not counting thousands more each day of people who are injured. I just watched a testimony from one of the surgeons at the El Paso hospital who took about half of the wounded, and he described in full detail the types of injuries he had faced and had to work with. They were irreparable damage as compared to the thousands of gunshot victims he has treated in the past from handguns that were in no way comparable to what he saw the day of that shooting. So again, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Excuse me. Would anyone else like to make a statement on that issue or any other issue? Please.
We need to pay attention.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Could you give your name and address?
I'm in emergency. 429 Clarksville Road. I have the honor of working with elder patients in their home. They are the wisest people. They teach me every day. I'm there for them and they're there for me. And this gentleman who shared it, thank you. You need to know that we need to reflect on what our children are experiencing today. We need to understand. My patient told me he knows my heart and I know his, but he told me to go to a painting that was done by Pablo Picasso. I don't know history well, but I looked because he told me to. It's Guernica painting. If you all could look at it, spend time with it, and understand it shares the atrocities of war and the present day problem is that is what's happening in our schools, in this country, in this environment. If Pablo Picasso had to make a painting of what happens today, understanding it. They wouldn't let that continue. They would make the changes. So I'm asking people to just take the time to reflect in whatever way works for you, to sit with it and go deeper and understand that we are all one and we are all needing to work together to make a change.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to make a statement? There seem to be a lot of people who are interested in this issue. Would anyone on council like to make a motion to change the order of the agenda and deal with the resolution on gun control and gun violence now?
So moved.
I second.
Can we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Evers? Yes. Hamilton?
Yes.
Manzara?
Yes, that's to reorder it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. So,
Again, that was resolution 2019-R220.
yes. So we will now take up the resolution. Do we want to have a motion to pass it? And
I would like to make a motion to amend it.
well, okay, may I hear your motion to amend it? By all means.
Yes.
So after the whereas clause where it says, it is obvious that mass shootings will continue unless and until sensible laws like New Jersey's are adopted at the federal level, I would like to add 2 additional whereas clauses. Whereas many police officers are killed every year by the use of illegal firearms as demonstrated by the recent death of Officer Sandeep Dhaliwal in Texas, is the first one. And the second one is, whereas one effective way of preventing mass shootings in our schools is to deploy Class 3 police officers whom we sincerely thank for their service. And then I'd like to add, after the therefore be it resolved statement, but before the be it further, I would like to add an additional, be it further resolved, that Iowa 2 senators and 12 representatives take action to prevent tragic deaths of citizens and of police officers. That's just amending the one that was originally written.
Probably should send the resolution to them too, instead of just the freeholders.
And that's a great point, Linda, yeah.
But we
Yes,
should
that was,
that a little bit.
yes.
That would,
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to add those.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
The amendment is on the floor.
I would just like to make a comment. I think that there are people who are not comfortable with adding the issue of officers in schools. And I do not think that that will make everybody happy here.
But I do agree with the other amendments that
Which
you
is what I was just going to say. I agree with your other amendments. So I shall now amend the amendment.
No, that's not how it works. We have to vote on the line. But I think we need to talk about it a little bit first before we vote, Mike, is that correct?
Correct.
Excuse me, did Linda,
She
did
did
you
second.
second?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think the police continue to take hits from people, disparaging them and disparaging the Class 3 officers. There are West Windsor police officers that are going into our schools as Class 3 officers. They are trained by our police department. They work the West Windsor way, and I want a way to thank them for their service, and I would like to have it included because they're the first line of defense. I mean, look, I hear you guys, you're worried about the kids in the schools, so am I. The first line of defense, if a shooter comes into a school, is a Class 3 police officer. There's no delay in someone driving from out in the field or from the police station to get to the school if you have a Class 3 officer in the schools, which we do. And look, I'm the liaison to the emergency services, and I'm here to support our police officers who are fine police officers. They do a heck of a job. Every single day they're putting themselves on the line for us. They're putting their lives on the line for us, and that includes the Class 3 police officers. They're not second-class citizens, and I would like to see a little bit of respect for them, and I would like to thank them in this. I have no problem saying, hey, listen, there's a problem with violence in this country, and the legislature should do something about that. And it's their job to look at the different solutions and to look at the different, look at the data and to come up with some solutions there. But I don't want to leave out those Class 3 police officers. Those are our first line of defense in the schools, and they deserve our thanks.
Thank you.
Allison, may I?
Yes?
So I don't disagree with you. I was opposed, obviously, to having police officers in the schools because I don't subscribe to the good guy with a gun, bad guy with a gun analogy. Having said that, I absolutely agree with your proposal of including language protecting our police officers. And I think you had 3 changes and 2 of them dealt with just respecting our police officers. That's perfectly fine. Class 3 police officers are police officers. They work for the police department. They are covered under that language. There's no reason to call them out specifically.
They are an effective way of preventing violence in the schools. They're our first line of defense. They're citizens. They're West Windsor police officers.
It's a certain class, though, right?
Well, there's other classes. Let's name them all then. We have K-9 Cherno, or whoever's not retiring. We have lieutenants, we have sergeants, we have patrolmen, we have the guy on the motorcycle. I mean, they're all police officers under the auspices of our police department and our police chief. They report to our police chief. They are the same, and as you said, they are trained by West Windsor. They are in our schools. Their assignment location is different. Otherwise, for all intents and purposes, they are West Windsor officers, and they are covered by the other language in your proposal.
Well, I disagree, and I'd like to call for a vote.
Can we have
See who actually cares about Class 3 officers.
On the amendments as Virginia proposed them?
And the clerk understands the amendments before?
I do.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen the amendments before now. I'm just going by what I heard.
Plus, also sending it on to the 2 U.S. senators. They're mentioning it.
Yes.
And that's what we're really supposed to be sending it to them.
Agreed.
Yes, we agree with that, but we're voting on the whole package of the amendments that Virginia proposed. And if it fails, we can vote on everyone but that one specifically calling out the Class 3 officers. So let's have a roll call vote on Virginia's whole package of amendments.
Okay, these are for the amendments to 2019 R220 as presented by Councilwoman Manzera. Jeevers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
No.
Manzera.
Yes.
Zhang.
No.
Miller.
No.
I'll make the motion. I do like 2 of Virginia's amendments with respect to our police department. I will make the motion that we adopt those 2 amendments, but not the amendment relating to the Class 3 officers.
And that also includes Linda's language about
Yes.
freeholders in U.S.
And that makes
That's okay. You don't have to make that amendment. I'll revise my amendment to include just the 2 changes. The first whereas about the police officers and the one changing the second language. And so I'll own that. Linda, do you second it?
Yes, and also the 2, sending it to the U.S.
And sending it to the senators.
Well, we might as well send it to all of it says in therefore be it resolved that we hereby call upon our 2 senators and 12 representatives to use their most persuasive arguments to induce their colleagues. So
Need to receive it, though.
But
I
we
mean,
want to
correct.
receive it,
We're calling
so
on
we
it.
want to receive, we want our 2 senators and the 12 representatives all to receive it, as well as the boards of chosen freeholders. I didn't say every municipality in New Jersey, because that's
That's a lot.
a lot of people. So we will send this to our representatives and senators, and we will add Virginia's language about police officers having been murdered by assault weapons.
Illegal firearms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I made the motion, Linda seconded, so we
so
need
we're
to vote.
voting on this amendment.
Jeevers,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Manzara,
Yes.
Zhang,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes. Now,
29.
do I have a motion for the whole thing?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Manzara,
Yes.
Zhang,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes. So thank you very much for everybody who came, and Gay, could you get us a copy of the finally revised resolution, and so we can send it to all these people who are interested in what it says? So thank you, everyone, and now those who came for this can go away.
Can I say just one thing? Yeah, I just want to express my appreciation for people grassroots support to this resolution. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's very gratifying to see so many people interested in what we're doing. Yeah. But even though you aren't interested, I thought you would like the opportunity to leave. Okay, so we're back to administration comments. Does the administration have any comments?
Couple of announcements. Public Works is not collecting yard debris this week in any of the zones. Therefore, residents are asked not to put anything out. Zone 1 will be collected on Monday, October 7th, I believe. And then on Sunday, October 13th, the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company is hosting its annual pancake breakfast. It will be held from 8 a.m. to noon. It will be held at the Princeton Junction Firehouse, 245 Clarksville Road. The menu includes pancakes, sausage, coffee, tea, and juice, and the price is $5. Come out and meet your local volunteer firefighters and enjoy a great breakfast. And then it's time for the Township's seasonal flu clinic serving the communities of West Windsor, Robbinsville, and Hightstown. The West Windsor Township Health Department announces 2 2019 seasonal flu clinics for residents over the age of 55. Wegmans Pharmacy will be on site to provide vaccinations on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019, from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m., and Tuesday, October 29th, 2019, from 3 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. at the West Windsor Township Senior Center, located at the Municipal Complex, 271 Clarksville Road, West Windsor, New Jersey. Pre-registration is required. Please contact 609-799-9068 to pre-register. Attendees are asked to wear short-sleeved or loose-fitting clothing to the clinic. ID is required, and please bring an insurance card or your Medicare card with you. Those are the announcements I have.
Mayor, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to wish Happy Navratri to all Hindus who celebrate, Happy New Year to all Jewish people who celebrate. Must be really special for Paul since he came in spite of having a religious holiday. Yesterday I attended gratitude walk at the Windsor Athletic Center. I just want to thank Jyotina Prasad and Martha Watfield and everybody else who were over the event. It was very timely to remind people that we have a lot more to be thankful for. A lot more is right in the world than wrong. So again, thankful for people arranging that event.
Okay, council comments. Linda?
Okay, I noticed, I guess it was the bills and claims. I just had a quick question, and maybe it's been answered already, but I don't have my tablet with me, about fees for movie production, like if a company wants to come in and film here. I think there was mention about a policy, but if we say, hey, it's $500 or whatever, should we have an ordinance on that?
Yes.
Okay, but do we have an ordinance on that?
As far as movies go, no.
Okay, so for movie productions, film company wants to come in and they want to do a shooting somewhere in town. So you're saying that we should have one, not just have a policy, but have...
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have, to charge fees and things like that, yes, you should have an ordinance on the books.
Right, okay.
Does that come up?
Yeah, and the...
There was a company
attorney's
that wanted
bills.
to come through town. There's some liability issues and things that we addressed.
Right.
The fee was meant to defray the expense of counsel who I needed to have him look at their boilerplate language, and I contacted him to protect the township.
Yeah, no, I don't have any objection to that. I'm just saying, if we're charging a fee for something, then I thought maybe we should have that in ordinance form, like it could range, it could be a range.
Yeah, absolutely correct to defray costs of legal review. But if you're thinking that the town is going to become a mecca for filming, not a mecca for filming, but the town could. I mean, we have a beautiful town here, and
right.
People may want to film here. It's probably not a bad idea to have an ordinance.
Yeah, we could have something simple. I'm not looking at pages and pages here. This is very
I'm
simple.
sure there's one floating in the ether out there somewhere.
All right. Well, it just caught my attention because I hadn't seen that before.
I actually drafted one for Princeton when they were filming IQ, and then later The Beautiful Mind.
Right. Oh, when you mentioned Princeton, the ban the bag ordinance, someone had told me that, I guess, a year or two ago, they were talking about that.
Ban the
bag, plastic bag
ban the
issue.
bag. I apologize. Yes,
and that they had looked into that, and they had, I guess, gotten similar legal advice to what you gave us. So that was
very interesting. Many of us are one of three very expensive people waiting at 8 o'clock. So if there's no issue that relates to tonight's agenda items, let's go. We have an important closed session with a lot of money being paid to three people who are waiting for us. So if the issue is not on the agenda tonight, I would request not talk about it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to get into that, but I just when they said that with Princeton, they could probably Oprah the legal advice that they got, because that's the story I heard why they haven't done it, because they're pretty, progressive over there. So
They
I
have
just
an
want to mention
excellent
that.
attorney, and Miss Cecil.
Mr. Schneer. Ed
Ed
Schneer.
Schneer is no longer the attorney. It's now Trishka Cecil.
Right. But it might have been from a couple of years ago.
Are in a lot of towns together, and she's
Yeah, she's
probably one of
very
the best
good.
municipal attorneys around.
Okay.
But we do differ sometimes as well.
Right. And just happy New Year to all those celebrating. Thanks.
Okay, YZ?
Not for this power portion. I'll reserve for the later portion. Yeah.
Okay. Virginia?
So I wanted to thank Officer Doug Montgomery and his wife for including me in their retirement party that they held yesterday for K9 Cerno. As we learned at the last council meeting, Cerno served the township for nearly a decade. He's an amazing pup, and I wish him a long and healthy retirement. I also got to meet Mrs. Hodge at that event from Hodge Funeral Home. She is the individual who is responsible for donating the funds for our newest police dog, K9 Hodge. And I personally thanked her for her long time support of our police department, and she was a very sweet lady. I was glad to meet her. Looking forward to the pancake breakfast that Marlena was talking about on October 13th. That's a great event for everybody to come out and see what the fire department, Princeton Junction Fire Department, is all about. And just wanted to encourage anybody who is interested in finding out more about donating to the fire company, to becoming a sponsor for the Mayor's Ball, that's to benefit the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company, or to become a volunteer, either firefighter or an administrative volunteer. Please email www.givesback@gmail.com, and we will give you the information and hook you up with the right people. That just seems to be the easiest way to do it, so we can get you in touch with whoever's in charge of those different things. So www.givesback@gmail.com, and I encourage you to donate to the fire department. Those guys, they also put their lives on the line every day for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Aisha?
If we're not talking about the plastic bag ordinance, I will save my comments for later.
Very well. I would like to thank all the places I didn't go yesterday because it was my mother-in-law's 100th birthday celebration, and it was really a
Happy birthday to her.
We had a birthday party with her children and her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, of which there are 15, going down to my little granddaughter who's 11 months. And I'm sure that Cerno had a wonderful party, and I'm sure that I saw some email photos from the mayor going to the Martins party. I wasn't there. But I'd like to thank everybody who came here to speak, and I'd like to say Happy New Year to all my Jewish friends who celebrate New Year. So, Gay, do you have anything to add? No. Well, public hearings.
29-27, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 148, Article 2, Refuge Collection, Section 148-8, Dumpsters on Public Property of the Code of the Township of West Windsor.
This is an ordinance suggested by the police so that we can, if necessary, fine people for leaving dumpsters in the street where they are an obstruction and a safety issue. Would anyone like to make a comment in this public hearing of this ordinance? Please come up and make a comment. Thank you. On this ordinance.
Just, leave over in the Penn's Neck area. I'm just curious, did you say dumpsters or did you mean like garbage cans?
No, this is literally dumpsters.
Oh, then okay, I mean, I heard, I was just worried you were like, we're all of a sudden about to get tickets on our garbage cans if we don't bring them in.
No, we don't want to take away anybody's garbage cans.
So
we don't want to take away anybody's garbage cans.
So you're in favor of this, right?
I don't know, I need to know more.
Would anyone else like to make a comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yeah.
Miller?
Yes. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay. Consent agenda.
2019 R203, authorizing the request by Gary H. Weiss for 100% disabled veteran exemption and allowing the tax collector to refund the amount of $262.20 and to cancel all subsequent taxes per state statute 54-4-3:30. 2019 R204, authorizing the amendment to the Personnel and Procedures Manual to include the Model Information Technology Practice Policy as required by the Mid-JIF and Municipal Excess Liability and Joint Insurance Fund. Bills and claims.
Anyone like to take something off the agenda? Hearing none, motion for this consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you guys can have it.
Roll call.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Manzara.
Yes.
Zhang.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes. Okay, did you say no, Aisha?
No, she
Okay.
said yes.
Okay, recommendations from administration and council clerk.
2019 R205, authorizing the transfer of ownership for retired K-9 Officer Cherno to Officer Douglas Montgomery. 2019 R206, approving a minor amendment to the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, ASME Local 3242 contract. 2019 R207, authorizing the refund of the municipal portion of property taxes billed for 2019 to PSE&G via credit in the fourth quarter of 2019 for $6,185.81. 2019 R208, authorizing the extension of the contract with Aquatic Service, Inc. for the closing, opening, painting, and seasonal maintenance of the West Windsor Aquatic Complex for the period fall 2019 through Labor Day 2020, $45,702.30. 2019 R208, authorizing the reimbursement to Avalon Watch Communities, the Muse at Princeton Junction, and Windsor Woods Luxury Apartments for solid waste collection for 2018 in the amount of $249,675.81. 2019 R210, authorizing the reimbursement of various condominium and homeowners association for 2018 trash and recycling collection and disposal and snow removal costs for 2018. 2019 R11, authorizing the business administrator to purchase one 2020 Ford Escape four-wheel drive SUV from Buyer Ford through the Education Services Commission of NJESC Co-op for code enforcement in the amount of $24,366.31. 2019 R212, authorizing the business administrator to purchase two power lift stretchers from Stryker EMS Equipment through the Bergen County Co-op, $107,762.20. 2019 R213, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a contract with Sunset Creations, Inc. for EAB management street tree replacement years 3-4, base bid plus alternate bid, number 1, $162,025. 2019 R214, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement for Van Cleef Engineering Associates for supplemental work for the DNR Canal Sewer Interceptor, $50,380. 2019 R215, authorizing the chief financial officer to increase the professional services agreement with Van Cleef Engineering Associates for miscellaneous engineering services by $3,500 for a total not to exceed of $10,000. 2019 R216, authorizing the chief financial officer to increase professional services agreement with GeoTrek Environmental and Surveying LLC for supplemental engineering services by $11,450 for a total not to exceed of $16,450. 2019 R217, authorizing the person-to-person transfer of liquor license 1113-33-009-003 from C.A. Muir Corporation, trading as the Big Fish Seafood Bistro, to Market Fair Holdings 2, LLC. And I'll hold off on the other two since we vote on them separate.
Okay, does anyone want to treat differently 2019 R205 through 2019 R217?
We usually pull collective bargaining.
We just did.
We did.
I
Okay.
didn't say those.
No.
I held
That's
those.
why I said 17,
Okay,
not
yeah.
19.
Okay.
Or does anybody want to make a motion for 205 through 217?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Manzara.
Yes.
Zhang.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
2019 R218, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the collective bargaining agreement with West Windsor Police Benevolent Association, PBA Local 271, for the period of January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2022.
Do I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
2019 R210, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the collective bargaining agreement with the West Windsor Township Police Superior Officers Association, SOA, for the period of January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2022.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Introduction of ordinances.
2019-28, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of real property known as the Applegate parcel number 62, block 10, lot 16, consisting of approximately 8.8 acres located at 163 Clarksville Road, and other related expenses in the Township of West Windsor, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, appropriating the amount of $275,000.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Public hearing October 15th, 2019. 2019-29, ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property known as Block 10, Lot 16, as referenced on the West Windsor Township tax map and consisting of approximately 8.8 acres located at 163 Clarksville Road, and execution of a purchase agreement with Loretta R. Applegate.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Manzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Public hearing October 15th, 2019.
It's time for additional public comment. Does somebody have something else to say? Seeing none, council reports, discussion, new business, Wisey.
All right. So as the school board liaison, I attended the last school board meeting. It's the first school board meeting after New Year. For the most part, there are quite a few small but many number of curriculum changes. So that was probably the most important agenda in my judgment. And then also as the liaison for Environmental Commission, I did have a lot of feedback after the last council meeting from some of the commissioners as well as many public. And I did hear some of the public comments during the first public comment period. So there is, just for full disclosure and going forward so that, for transparency, there is a sort of working group, people working together, some of the commissioners and some public who showed great interest to put a package together to, reaching out to more people who have done it before, from other townships, and B, reaching out to some more elected officials at a higher level, including the state senators and assemblymen, assemblywomen, to take their input, and also C, trying to address some of the concerns expressed by members of the administration, and so these things are going on in the background. So personally, I would like to put it on the agenda for the next council meeting for introduction. But of course, we will have some time for discussion between now and 2 weeks from now. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
Look, as a council member, any kind of information that you can give us is fine. But this whole issue also needs to be looked at some point by the administration, health department, whatever. We have, I don't know how many businesses exactly are in town, 100, 200, 500, whatever the number is. I think that, when you do something of this magnitude that affects businesses, they need to be reached out, not just a few big box, retail stores, but it affects all the businesses. Have they even seen it? Have they read it? I don't even know what the latest version is. Okay, so there's a lot of issues, and I don't want good work to be ruined by just rushing it through because there's an election. Okay, and that's why it's, to me, being rushed. And I think that's fair to say that. So that's just my opinion. That there needs to be, in towns, you're telling businesses you can't use these bags, or you have to charge this, you have to do this, you have to do that. That there should be stakeholder outreach from the township. I think for good governance, that is very important. And I'm not saying that you can't get there in the end, but I think that process is very important. And I read some of the materials that one of the Environmental Commission members gave us, and it does talk about meeting with stakeholders and all, working with the administration, working with a mayor, working with the council, and to make sure that there's a lot of public knowledge about this. It's not even on our township webpage. A lot of people, if you ask them on a high level, the concept, yes. But then then it's what it actually says. And there's 565 municipalities, and I would say less than 10% have passed these ordinances.
Yeah, 30,
and
yeah.
30, right, 30 out of 565. So it's moving along, okay? I don't have a problem with that, with being more sustainable. I just don't want that feeling like we're forcing businesses to do this without the township formally getting their feedback. And normally something like this would be at a workshop meeting where we would sit or invite these businesses to come in. And if they don't, you could still send out an email with an attachment on the ordinance to get the feedback. Some of these companies, you'll get feedback right away. Some have to send it off to their corporate offices. Because I've talked to some of these businesses. So, there is a certain process there. So that's all I'm saying. And it's good that some residents are reaching out to our legislative leaders. That's really where this should land. So there's uniformity, for all these businesses who, have a supermarket in our town and also in another town. And everyone's doing something different, and we're all trying to get there to be more sustainable. And I think we will. But my comfort level, though, is that we need the administration to get some formal feedback from the business community.
If I may
Council President,
respond.
could I address the issue?
Since it's becoming a discussion about this issue, sure.
So here's my frustration with government in general. My frustration with our state government, as our mayor often reflects, is they just seem to not be able to get it done. Here is an opportunity for us to be able to get it done. I am in the news, residents approaching us. There just does not seem to be that much of a concern about passing an ordinance that says, let us reduce plastic bag waste in our trash stream. In fact, when we had a presentation from a recycling team that came in and said what a nightmare these single-use plastic bags are in our recycling machines, and that they're the things that are gumming up the works and causing extra cost. Our recycling costs have skyrocketed this year. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that contributes to it. Higher costs contribute to it. So yeah, we can kick this can down the line and we can keep kicking it, but then we are no better than any of the other elected officials that I routinely complain about. So let's just get it done. I don't know. You can log into any newspaper. I say log in, right? Because that's how we do it these days. But reading the materials, recognizing that our environmental commission has been working on this for a while and has vetted the issue and has approved the issue. What sort of Linda has proposed seems to be a little bit more of a delay tactic.
It's not a tactic, but it's just,
I would draw the word delay. You can call it whatever the hell you like. The time is it is delay, you're right. But the time now is for action. the time is not for us to be sitting around punting the issue to somebody else. We have the ability to do this. 30 towns have done it without legal challenge. Why do we think we're that special that we're going to be the ones that someone's going to go after? And I feel fairly confident, though Mike may disagree, I don't know, that we would be okay on this because it's a fairly reasonable ordinance. So Wisey is right, the township needs an opportunity to review it. Linda's right as well. Linda raised a point about can it go on the township website? It should certainly go on the township website. I mean, if we're proposing or promoting magazine apps, we should certainly include this information on the website. But there's no reason not to just review it, propose changes, come and speak on it, and take a vote. I don't know how much longer we want to vote or wait on this. So
I would like to point out that the ordinance does not take effect until May. And that's really an awful lot of time to do research in depth, to look at how we're going to do it, implement it day to day, and if necessary, tweak it with amendments.
Since my name was mentioned, let me comment on it. Anyway, I was hoping this won't come. This is a silly season now. Between now and November 5th, we'll be exposed to everything that helps Allison get elected. That's perfectly fine. But I just want to, since my name was mentioned, it's very funny that Allison says, let's pass the ordinance and then worry about it since it's not effective till whatever May 2020. Let me just remind Aisha the difference between class 3 officers in this. This is being rushed. I haven't yet gotten the final copy of the ordinance. The last ordinance that was given to us was Colesneck. And having heard what happened in Colesneck last week, I don't think Aisha will want to follow anything from Colesneck. So it was so easy that the words Colesneck wasn't even changed in the ordinance when it was put on the website. At least that's the version I got through Gay. That the version was given to Gay. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
My time to speak, let me speak.
Of course.
I heard you patiently berate me, so my time. So let me just draw a contrast between the class 3 and garbage ordinance, the garbage bag ban ordinance. Garbage bag ban ordinance, nobody has seen other than Allison, Aisha, and maybe YZ, because what you're the part in the background. The class 3 officer was discussed by the school board at least for 4 months, if not more, in several public meetings. It was given to Hamilton, Allison, and YZ. YZ wasn't on the, sorry, you weren't on the council then. It was given to Aisha and Allison at least twice for comments on at least 2 or 3 occasions. We got an opinion from the mayor. Because Aisha didn't like the opinion from the lawyer, we spent taxpayer money to get opinion from the second lawyer. And even the both lawyers agreed that it was very legit and everything was done properly, she insisted no, that these laws are not good. As opposed to this ordinance where our own lawyer says it's illegal, but she says not don't do that. And that's the argument I always used to have with Mr. Burek, who kept telling me why we need a lawyer at the council meeting. If you have a lawyer and pay him good money, sorry Mike, no offense to you, at least listen to him. Don't pay money to sit here and ignore his advice. So this is very transparent that this is just politics more than substance, and we're not interested in talking substance. And if you are watching at home, you decide what kind of government you want. Because they feel that because they have 3 votes, they can simply bamboozle it through, which is very true. But somebody else sometime in the future will do the same tactics to bamboozle an ordinance that you don't like. Or do essentially something that you don't like. And that's what you see in Washington going on. One side doing something and second side going and doing worse. So it's really a question for voters and a question for residents. It's what type of government you want. You want government driven by need of politics, or you want government driven by good governance? And that's essentially a decision within a month's time. And they may be able to just bamboozle the ordinance through the council. It's sending a bad message to the business, it's sending a bad message to all the residences, but that's what they decide to do, so be it. Thanks.
I've got to address this.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can go first.
So, for any of you watching, you would think that I was actually running for council, because that was a fairly blatant political attack. I'm not, just to be clear. And even if I were running for council, whether I'm running or not, I would think that something as simple as removing plastic bag waste from your waste stream is a no-brainer. But it turns out it's not a no-brainer. So yeah, we should have this conversation. The fact that 3 people on council, 2 of whom are not running for anything, would vote in favor of something that saves our environment and does something that is fairly commonplace and being done across the state and being done across the country as a political move and being characterized that way, it's fine. You guys are going to say what you're going to say. My understanding from the last meeting is that there was actually a lot of support from this town, a lot of support from your taxpayers who came and spoke in favor of removing plastic bag waste from our trash stream. I guess we can ignore them, right? I guess we can choose to kick the can down the road, but that makes us really no better than any of the politicians that we criticize. So, back to you, Allison.
Now, I thank you, Aisha. I agree with what you said. I agree with your analysis. And I just want to say that after the last meeting, I heard a lot of people speak in favor of this ban. There was a lot of reason for it, but there was a lot of questions about details. And I spoke to YZ, and we decided that we should have a new package of information. And that's what YZ was telling you about. Not about what we didn't know yet, but what he's putting together right now. And I think that this should make a difference to, if not people up here who are concerned about the election, but people in the township who are concerned about plastic waste.
Can I just add something, Allison, when you're finished?
Go ahead.
So, 2 people on the Environmental Commission voted to send this to council. 2 out of whatever, 7 or 9? 7. 8 people showed up to speak in favor of it, and you think that's representative of 27,000 people in this town. And you think it's okay to pass an ordinance that affects 27,000 people in this town without doing any due diligence at all. That makes no sense to me. Okay. Now, a couple of years ago, this ordinance that was proposed has a fee in there for the paper bags. And a couple of years ago, there was a referendum on the ballot, and 55% of the people in West Windsor and 61% of the people in Mercer County overall voted against that bag fee. So those are thousands of voters who voted against a bag fee, which is included in your ordinance. So I would say thousands, 3,261 is greater than 8. Well, 10 if you include the 2 people on the Environmental Commission. Actually, I think those people also spoke at the meeting, so I go back to 8. 3,261 is greater than 8. So.
I remember that, and I think that things have changed since that went on the agenda, and I think that we are not proposing to do exactly what they propose to do. And again, I'm saying there's a package that YZ is putting together that you are ignoring.
But what is this package going to include?
You're asking what it's going to do when it hasn't been put together yet. But YZ
That's important as
was,
part of a process.
Yes,
I'm trying
and
to
it's part
understand,
of
like, what are we getting? Because maybe
You're
I'll
going
add
to
something to that, maybe.
maybe, but why don't you just wait until you get it?
Yeah, for the most part,
Because you guys want to introduce an ordinance in, 2 weeks? I mean, I get this package by like a Thursday before, and it's...
Yeah, it's going to be available in the next couple of days, first of all. But also, for the most part, we have the original materials, but plus more. But also, there could be some tweaks. For example, I think there is some feedback from people to say maybe the fine is too much, 250. Can we reduce it?
I caught that.
To some, yeah. I think I didn't hear from you.
$25,
I
think.
So I think there's still room for discussion in terms of making it more practical and easier to implement. So I think, obviously, it is on me plus a group of people to put it together. First of all, I know myself, this is nothing political on my part. Not only because I'm not running, but it's irrelevant. I think putting this on the political spectrum in itself is a little bit unfair to the residents. Now, secondly, if you compare this to the Clarksville officer discussion, it's completely different issues. If you remember the Clarksville officer discussion, oftentimes it's like 60-40, 55-45 kind of balance between the two sides. And I was on the fence when I made my public comment myself. But in this, I haven't heard any people that I talked to 100 by now, probably. There's 900 people signed online. We're still trying to get the signature from the students who are so busy in their senior years. But there is an online petition going on. And truthfully, I have people holding, conservative views, and they told me, look, I may not do it on my own, but if the township decides to do it, I will do it, because I know it's good for the community. At the end of the day, we have to shoulder some responsibilities and as individual, even though, some people may not completely believe in climate change even, but in terms of the garbage, and that's why the towns around the coast area, they're the ones jumping in first, because they saw the plastic bags going to the water, to the seashore, that really damaged the quality of life in their area. That's why they were the ones. If they think of the blue wave, well, I mean, don't mean that way, but the wave is coming from the ocean, right? Because they polluted more along the coastline, but it's moving in because, as Yang mentioned, I did the same thing. I got a, peptic and Lyme disease because of that. But clearly, the roadside along Clarksville Road, so many plastic bags along the road. If you did it, you will realize how bad it was. And then if you back to the Clarksville officer, I think there's such a conflict. But here, I haven't really heard much of the pushback other than a few people here and there. And among the commissioners, I do want them to come out next time. I hope they'll come out. The ones that didn't attend the meetings, I wish to hear from them individually. And maybe I would reach out to them individually as well and just express their individual opinions to the public, right? And to see exactly what would be the vote if they were out there, 7 members. Again, I haven't been able to talk to them individually, but I want to hear from them. At the same time, again, I haven't really heard a public in terms of pushing back on this. As far as I talked to, I talked to the store owners, quite a few of them, and Trader Joe's already switched over. And the other day I went to McCaffrey. They were asking me, what kind of bag you prefer, and I saw more and more people taking their own bags. So there's a trend going on. So if you have to think about this thing in time of history, you realize that it's becoming more and more issue. More and more people are concerned about it, especially the younger and younger people. I mean, I'm sure you saw the news, the 16 years young lady who is a advocate for this kind of issue. So I think, let's not be the sort of the stopper of the historical movement here. Let's really go with the trend, because this is the good trend, right? In terms of the legal concerns and issues, might be a risk, but to me the risk is like lottery kind of risk, to be honest. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it's different in terms of smoking or not. I mean, if you plan smoking, you can't even smoke in the backyard. That's an issue, right? But here, you can buy your own plastic bag if you want to. Nobody will stop you, right? And I don't see that as a liability issue. But again, I'm not a lawyer, so I think I've said enough. But I think I do feel passionate about the issue as an individual. Obviously, we should be here representing our community, not just my own point of view. But again, I haven't heard community's negative feedback on the issue. If you want to talk to me about it, other than some business impact, which we can probably try to address, longer grace period, maybe I'm just thinking loud here, maybe some small business like restaurants can be exempt for a longer term period of time or something, because you want to have a bigger impact is this big supermarkets, right? Which fortunately they are kind of going to that direction anyways. If you go to McCaffrey, go to Trader Joe's, they're kind of all going that direction right now. So I think the time to me is the right time, and there's no reason to just keep waiting to address quote unquote all the concerns, because if you address all the concerns, then nothing would be moving forward on any of the ordinance. I'm sure we'll be able to pick and choose some of the concerns. There's always like that, right? So, in summary, we'll be able to provide something in a few days, and I'm strongly hoping that I would get my peer support to put it on the consent agenda next time. Thank you.
I would just like to say that I have received people telling me, do this, and the only negative I've received is people saying, why aren't you doing this? So I think we should wait until YZ's package comes out, and I am confident that we will feel comfortable. At least some of us will feel more comfortable about putting it on the agenda for next time. So rather than playing, I want to talk last on this. Do we have any council reports that do not pertain to plastic bags?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something quickly. This actually is in reference to the public comment that was made earlier by John Hinsdale, where he repeatedly slandered, again, as he does at every council meeting, the volunteers from West Windsor Gives Back, the mayor, myself, the township, the police, and the fire department. Apparently, Aisha Hamilton had some issue with the way I responded to his lies that he repeatedly makes, and he of course emails his comments to all the council, and she replied back apologizing for my behavior and saying that it's incumbent upon us to conduct ourselves with dignity and respect for our taxpayers, which of course I agree with. However, I guess that doesn't extend to other council members, because right before I came into the council meeting tonight, a friend sent me a screenshot of a post that Ms. Hamilton made tonight, or today sometime, I guess, publicly on Facebook, calling me a racist and scum. So I'd say you're hardly a model for respect and dignity, Aisha. So I would thank you to refrain from lowering yourself to that level. Thank you.
Dear me. Does anyone have any comment that is not about plastic bags or West Windsor Gives Back? If you want to report about what is the planning board doing?
Well, the planning board, we're picking up the pace soon. We to get a few weeks off there. So there's nothing to report on the planning board, but I did attend the September 26th zoning board meeting. There was an application for a C-bulk variance for construction of an 8-foot wood privacy fence at 580 Alexander Road and Canal Point Boulevard. So that was approved. A D4 variance was approved for the renovation of an existing detached garage barn at 211 South Mill Road. And also there was much discussion on the VCC Princeton Junction preliminary final major site plan application. This is a mixed-use development of 12,900 square feet, one-story child care center, and approximately 21,000 square feet, two-story retail and apartment building with 12 one-bedroom units. And this is at Princeton Heightstown Road between Colton Place and Cranberry Road. That hearing has been continued until October 24th. And I guess before the zoning board.
Could I just, was anything covered in that hearing about the fact that the plan is for all the apartments to be one bedroom, including all the affordable apartments?
Yeah, being that this is an active application, it's an ongoing hearing, I don't want to get too specific, then just what
I don't want to get
covered. Yeah, I don't want to say anything, because it is a hearing, it's continuing, so I'm just sort of reporting back on the subject. And I just wondered if it was a big application of interest in our town. I'll talk to you later. Okay. I don't want to. I shouldn't say anything like that. October 3rd at 7 p.m. The zoning board continues the hearing on the celebrations application, which is 420 all affordable units. October 3rd.
There was no affordable housing committee meeting, but we did look at some affordable housing plans. I will just say that the senior housing at Bear Creek looks just fine. Administration updates.
I have none.
Okay. So what is next is closed session, and we do have a closed session. So can we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Manzara.
Yes.
Zhang.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Whereas NJSA 10-412 allows for a public body to go into closed session during a public meeting, and whereas the Township Council of West Windsor Township has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempted from the public, and whereas the regular meeting of this Township Council will reconvene, and whereas the below stated subject matter shall be made available at such time as the issues discussed therein are resolved and its disclosure would not subvert any particular exemption from convening a closed session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council, the Township of West Windsor, will go into closed session for the following reason, as outlined in NJSA 10-4-12, for discussion of litigation, potential litigation.
Okay. Do we want to have a minute or two break?
We're going to go.
We're going to go into C, then we have a break to let us all go into C. Thanks, everyone.